Let me start this with Jacob Rafelson, a scientifically honest optometrist who recognized that all eyes are dynamic systems at birth. And therefore, if you do this, the refractive state of your completely normal eye will change from plus to minus. That's engineering science, it's not medicine. It is all primate eyes. They all do it. And so when we have our modern society, kids do this. And nobody tries to stop them. No parent stops them. And everybody says how cute they are. And then optometrists say screens have nothing to do with it. Absolutely nothing. Why do you ask me that question? If I talk to an optometrist, I will ask him, what are you doing to help your prevention avoid entry to nearsightedness when they're 20/40? Or what are you explicitly doing, or you're doing nothing for prevention when they're 20/40? If they cannot answer that question, and believe me, they won't answer the question. They'll evade it. They'll change the subject. They'll talk about screens. They'll talk about people not knowing anything about optometry. They'll do all that because they know you don't care and you won't do anything anyway. And you let a kid do that, and it doesn't take long, he'll go down at approximately 1 diopter per year. Maybe less, maybe a half diopter per year. One thing is dead certain, he'll get a minus lens when he's at 20/50. And probably excessive by 1 diopter. That's a standard procedure in optometry. Give them the strongest minus lens possible. Well, now let me do a fashion profile for my 50 years experience. Here are the glasses I had. Can't see you, can't see anything. Vision wiped out by a minus lens and a habitual overprescription of a minus lens. Another one. Really looking good here. Where was Rafelson when I needed him? Well, it turns out that when a Rafelson did talk to, in my military style, obviously I'm disgusted with the entire optometry business. But if I talk about prevention, even my relatives, they can't get out of the room fast enough, which is why you can sell a strong minus lens to a kid who's at 20/40, because you can't make money helping people. You cannot make money helping any kid get out of 20/40 because the kid doesn't want it. And the kid doesn't understand it, and the parents don't understand it. And so this situation must be perpetuated forever with nobody attempting to do anything. So that's where we are now and have been for the last 100 years. When Rafelson tried, and I tried to help a father whose son was probably doing this, the reaction was the father was more or less, I don't want to do that. I don't want my kid to do that. He doesn't need to do that. Why are you giving my kid a plus lens when they're 20/40 or 20/20 and don't need it? This is partly answered by Jeff and Rupa Wong, who have their kids not wearing a plus. Keep their nose off the page so they don't go down the way every other kid does who does this. I have no way to stop a child from doing that, but I can tell you what the consequences will be. 100%. So I'm an engineer. That probably doesn't mean anything to you. I have every reason to model the normal eye as a sophisticated dynamic control system, which it always has been. But when it comes to the ignorance of the public and the ignorance of the optometry, which pays their bills, you're not going to hear anything. You're not going to get anything. And when I talk about getting out 2050, nobody wants to, or looking at a chart, take responsibility. That means long-term plus wear. I mean, there's no other way to do it than that way. Only cataract surgery got me to 2060. And after trying to convince my relatives to wear a plus for prevention, I was in a position to wear a plus for my own prevention. And that's why I'm wearing a plus now. I don't know how many engineers there are. I don't think many, but even that they do, at least you owe it to them who understand control systems when they're 2040, a choice. But a choice is you do it yourself, including a Snellen. Again, the legal standard is DMV 2060 one eye, 2040 the other eye, and the ability to make measurements yourself. But I don't see any other way than to make measurements myself and accept passing the DMV as my requirement. I do a lot better than that, but you won't believe me if I told you anyway, so I didn't bother telling you. But I do pass the DMV, absolutely. And I wear a plus lens basically for all close work. My range of accommodations is 2 diopters because I can, well, it's engineering science. I'm thankful for Rafelson. Without Rafelson, I would not have understood the total stupidity of the public towards prevention. Just total. And perhaps no obligation. Optometrists don't have any obligation to help you with prevention. They certainly never going to. They never will. And I'm stuck with having to do it myself, which I enjoy doing. I enjoy doing mathematical analysis of the eye's behavior. All of this is in Frank Young's studies. Frank Young did studies. He didn't do the analysis, which I understand. Because to the analysis makes you collide with optometrists who tell you screens don't have anything to do with it. So this is back to what's important in your life. What's really important is keeping your Snellen clear for life. Is that important to you? My feeling is it's not important when it is important when you're 2040. So when I put up a Snellen up and Jake Rafelson ridicules the idea of using a Snellen or additional expertise to make your own refractive measurements and have a goal in life which you might be able to achieve. I don't claim success because I expect you to make your own measurements. You talk to a person that's 2050, he doesn't want the minus lens, plus lens, he doesn't want to do it. But he lets himself get down to -5 diopters, and all of a sudden, he's going to really do it. I'm really going to get out of 2050, -5, and say they work extremely diligence, and they get back to 20 -3. Or maybe, I don't know, I hope 2060. 2060, they say, I don't understand why I need prevention when I'm 2050, or I do not understand the plus lens. That's because they don't understand science and facts concerning the behavior of all fundamental eyes starting at birth, because they're not engineers, or at least they don't want to be. So that's what's missing in their minds. They don't conceptualize all eyes as dynamic at birth. If they did, they might be successful in prevention. Certainly no optometrist will help you. And this came from Rafelson. When one ophthalmologist did realize the plus lens could be effective and doing better than 2040. And the reaction was, since it was a medical prescription, the person in ignorance, total ignorance, complained because wearing the plus to go from 2060 to 2030, let's say, it's tedious. I don't see now why I need to wear a plus to go from 2060 to 2040. And really long term. I mean, nothing I've ever said is other than long term. And no optometrist will ever help you. They could understand, but they don't want to understand because you'd go broke if you told scientific truth. We had an open conversation about the behavior all fundamentalized starting at birth. That's the scientific conversation that will never be permitted for speaking, for analysis in the world of optometry. They don't want that to exist. And they're successful in preventing everything relating to dynamic eye analysis. I'll leave this up, add your own commentary. Now you understand why I wear a plus to prevent myself from re-entering myopia. Thank you.